What's up guys, Sekapoko here, bringing another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. For this we'll be going over my tier list for March 1st, 2018. And we'll be talking about some of the units that are going into March that are going to be really good, as well as some of the units that have just proven out throughout February to be super freaking awesome. First unit, of course, is going to be the brand new Luffy dropping on the first day of March. We don't know a ton about this unit yet. We know that he is going to be an amazing captain, but we don't know how he's going to play into a lot of teams. We also don't know what the new Zoro and Sanji do. We don't know a lot about what the new meta is going to be for Free Spirit, and we haven't tested it yet. So we're going to try out the new Free Spirit stuff and talk about them and why they're awesome. We are also going to talk a little bit about why the new Cerebral meta is taking One Piece Treasure Cruise by storm and all the cool things about that. We're going to talk extensively on both of these and make sure that you guys know exactly where the placement's going to be, as well as why these units are going to be awesome. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. We're going to talk first off on this new Luffy Ace. The new Luffy Ace is an amazing character. If you're not sure what he does already, he is a 4.25 captain when you pop his special. And he works very similarly to TS Luffy as well as G4. The difference is that he also changes orbs into matching orbs, or changes colored orbs into matching orbs, and he's a 2x orb booster. So it actually shored up many of the weaknesses we had with G4, and they take away a lot of the problems that you have with those units, and they fit it in with a lot of other really great units, so you have a lot of viability for Free Spirit. Now we have some fan-made art. This is not the actual art that we're going to see on the thumbnail. This art was brought to us by Ace for Nuts. So Ace for Nuts, thank you for the art, man. Hope you have a great day. Number 2 spot is going to move down to Lucy, and of course, a lot of people are going to be legitimately mad about this, and I understand because Lucy's still an amazing character. Being number 2 versus number 1 is really close, so it's not really going to matter. It's like those units are in the top tier units anyway, so they're really close together as far as viability goes. But we have been seeing on the JP version, Lucy becoming less and less useful. It is not that he is a terrible unit, it's not that he's a bad unit, it's the same thing that happens with any power creep. The content comes in and it's like, hey, screw you, this is harder for Lucy. Hey, this is harder for this other character. Hey, this is harder for this character. It gets harder just for different types and classes, etc. And it's still doable, it just becomes less easy to clear. Now, they still can clear all the other stuff that came up before it very easily, but there are other characters now that will be able to clear this a little bit easier or faster, and that's what will be characters for the new versions. One of the biggest problems with tier lists, and I hear this a lot, is that you don't have, I don't have all the characters in the entire game, so why are you making this tier list based on characters that for people that don't have all the characters in the entire game? And I understand that. The thing is, whenever you make any kind of tier list, you have to have every single unit in the entire game in your box as a mental point to think, okay, this is the best team. However, it may not be the best team for you as a player. It may be just the best team overall if you had all the units in the entire game. After that point, what you do is you think, okay, so I don't have those units, so what do I do to get to the next stage? How do I make sure that I can make my account better? Well, the next thing you do is say, okay, I have this legend, so how do I work from this legend and try to get all the subs? How do I make my tier list work for me? And you can extrapolate this however you want to. You can find out exactly what your best legends are, etc. But to me, this is my thoughts and opinions based on a lot of other friends that I've talked to, a lot of people that have put input into this. And this is not just my thoughts, this is a lot of other people putting thought into this and saying, hey, this is what we all think, this is what the community is thinking so far. And they may not have the final decision, the final say-so, but I take a lot of different opinions into consideration. I've talked to Boris about this, Toadski, Trot, Muta, Moe, Rose, El Chato, Kara, Azura Mothrin, Maniac One, Justin Higaki, Foggy, and Atsu. I may not ask them every single time I do a tier list, but I do ask them if they are available and make sure that we have everybody's input in to get the best possible tier lists. We have opinion from global players, opinion from JP players, etc., just to get a well-rounded opinion on these tier lists. So if you guys don't agree with it, it's okay. Just put your thoughts and comments in the description below and let me know what you guys think, and we can move things around. Make sure they're articulate and make sure that they are well-crafted thoughts. Otherwise, I can't really use your information. Make sure that you have great thoughts when you put them in there and put your best foot forward when trying to give me information. Otherwise, I can't make any changes to the tier list. The number 3 spot, now a lot of people are going to be a little bit upset about this, is going to be Croc. And I understand if you are a little frustrated with this and you think Akainu should be better because you have a better multiplier. I understand that completely. A 4x multiplier versus 3.5 or a captain that has HP-based abilities, I understand. However, we just got Coliseum Pedro, which makes all the arguments about HP thresholds and such kind of moot, because you don't need 3D2i Robin anymore. You don't need certain characters. There are other ways of using Croc. You can use Croc as a sub, which is not HP based anymore. Really good, because it's a 20% HP cut plus a 2x special. That's an extremely extremely strong special just by itself, even if you're not using him as a captain. There are other cerebral captains you can use. You can use Croc as a sub or a captain. He's good as both. And to be honest, Akainu is good as a really good unit, well-crafted unit overall. The problem is that Akainu lacks in survivability, and he also lacks in the teams that you can bring with him. Because if you do want to get his 1.75 boost on your characters, you have to bring a lot of 50 cost or higher units. You're going to do that a lot of times, but you do want to bring rare recruit units a lot of times when you have Akainu. And that kind of suffers, your damage kind of suffers because of that. You also have off-the-wall strength orbs, which kind of suffers as well, but it got shored up a little bit with the new Ace. So making it so that Ace was a really good unit for your Akainu team, so you can have Ace as your new Onigumo type character to give you a type boost. Unfortunately, Ace also is a type booster, so now you have 3 units giving you a type boost. So he's kind of falling in the category of where TS Luffy did, where TS Luffy, you had to pop 3 different specials in order to get one thing done, which is really unfortunate. But you can use Akainu specials on other stages, you don't have to use them all at once, but now you have 3 units that do the same special, and it becomes less and less viable. I understand if you like it, but it's still, you know, it's becoming less valuable. Then below that we have Strength Lucci, and I couldn't, for the life of me, put Strength Lucci above Akainu. Even though I can use Strength Lucci Quick Lucci teams, I can use Strength Lucci Judge teams, etc., I just could not bring myself to put Strength Lucci above Akainu. I don't know if it's an opinion, I don't know if it's based in fact. My gut just tells me that Akainu is better. I don't know if you guys agree with me, I don't know, not. I cannot find any valid point to put Lucci above Akainu. But I have had more experience with Lucci, but I still think Akainu is better. But let me know you guys think about that change as well. Let me know if you guys are okay with it. But the new Croc 6 Plus is such an amazing captain and such an amazing sub that I have to put him there. Overall, for Luffy and Ace, I'll talk about him as well versus Lucy, and we're also going to talk about him in the next section, which will be Quick. So the next one, of course, is the Quick section here, and the Quick section, he's going to be the #1 as well. Now, the reason this Luffy Ace is so good is because A, he has a 20% damage reduction, B, he boosts HP as well as doing damage, and C, he has the highest damage multiplier in the game. Overall, no one's better. He's ridiculous. Like, this is Lucy and Judge and Doflamingo. Here's the new Luffy. There's a whole new tier now for dual units, and I don't really know how the meta's going to play in. I don't know how these dual units are going to play in. We don't have them really on the JP version fully, but I have seen people use dual units with less superior captain abilities, like the new Smoker Dashiki, to clear crazy amounts of content. And the fact that they can do that with because they have a dual unit system in the game is really, really crazy. So definitely dual units provide this whole other layer to the game that we're going to have to think about and talk about as a community more and get more feedback. What I think about this new Luffy Ace is he is TS Luffy version 2. And even though it's not version 2 TS Luffy, and we're just going to call it Luffy Ace, basically he's the same as TS Luffy, but just way better in every way. If you look at them side by side, they're very, very similar, except he's just better in every single way. Definitely going to see less viability on TS Luffy. You can pair him with TS Luffy, and you could. There's no real reason you wouldn't do that. But the problem with the TS Luffy is you're getting like 0 viability out of that TS Luffy at that time, which kind of sucks. What I also don't know is I really don't know if it's going to be a Luffy Ace plus Frankie team, if it's going to be just a Luffy Ace team. I actually don't know what the best team is going to be, because you're going to have 2 separate orb boosters that you can't pop on the same turn. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how you're going to roll in Free Spirit. And it's not perfect, but it does have a lot of cool things to it. So we'll talk about that as time goes on. I'll show you exactly what I think are the best characters, what best guy happens, etc. But it's definitely an interesting way of looking at it. For this captain, there's a lot of different viability. We'll see as it keep going. The next units on the list they're going to stay the same. We're going to keep Frankie at #2 instead of #1. Just going to move him down the tier. We're moving basically the whole quick leaders down by 1 notch. Just like we did with Frankie. Now, Frankie, if you did not know why he is #2, Frankie is an amazing gateway legend. You don't have to run double Frankie for everything. You don't have to run double Frankie at all. You can run Frankie plus other captain. And that makes Frankie an amazing and phenomenal unit. The reason he is so amazing is because a 2 times basically universal type booster is what he is. He's going to be a fighter, striker, slasher, and shooter booster at 2x. Plus, he's going to provide a 10% HP cut, which is insanely strong, and can pair with a lot of other characters. So just know that Frankie is an amazing character and may actually see a lot of play with Luffy Ace teams. We'll see how that goes as time goes on. Of course, Quick Lucci is going to move down to the #3 slot. A lot of people think that Quick Lucci is better than Frankie, and it goes back and forth. I'm on the Frankie team, not the Lucci team. I have Lucci, but I think Frankie is better. V2 Law 6 Plus is going to stay at the #4 slot. He was #3, but now moving to 4 because of the Luffy Ace. And he's an amazing character as well. The problem with Luffy, the 6+ Law, is that you don't really need him if you have a V2 Rayleigh friend. He's just kind of an added booster, but he does have some crazy viability. What we saw on the 40 stamina version is that he is stupid strong as a zombie, like zombie damage lead. He can heal. He has healing for 5,000 per turn. If you get pinch heals off, he's over 6,000, 7,000 healing per turn. It's insane amounts of healing. So definitely an amazing character to have in your cerebral teams. Really good limit break overall. Very good unit overall. Then we're gonna have Kuzan and V2 Law. And the reason Kuzan is above V2 Law is just captain ability and viability as a sub. Kuzan is a little better. Now, of course, you guys do have that new Doflamingo coming out in the global version, which is really good. However, this Kuzan does have the 100k wave clear fixed damage through barriers, which is, if you did not know, so freaking godly. There is content that comes out that is so annoying, and you really need 6+ Kuzan to make it really, really good to go through barriers and do fixed damage. So definitely an amazing unit overall. Below that, TS Luffy, Barto, Enel, Dofi, Marco, Boa, and Cavendish. No real changes there. You can argue Marco, Boa, and Cavendish can be mixed around. No one really cares. They're at the bottom. Who gives a shit? Then for Dex, there's no changes here, but there is some changes in the best classes order. Now, what really happened here is that Driven is going to stay at number 1. Powerhouse stays at number 2. And the reason Powerhouse stays at number 2 is because Judge is a thing. Judge is the best Powerhouse captain. If you think otherwise, think about it for a second, then get back to me. Then it's going to be Cerebral. They're bonkers strong. And the other thing is that Dofi is cerebral too. So if you haven't seen my Treasure Mode Sabo showcase, go and check that out because I show how powerful Dofi can hit with his extra damage hit at the end of the turn. Super, super strong. Amazing unit. V2 Dofi is by far just the strongest team you can make. Having all your matching orbs, lots of utility on those teams. Such a strong unit overall. It can counter special rollback. It counters paralysis. It counters damage cap, it counters damage limit, it can counter defense up, can counter attack down. There are so many things that Driven can counter right now. It's super, super strong. So there's no way I can't make it the number 1 class. Powerhouse, definitely the second strongest class with all this Judge batch as well as all the V2 Lucci batch, the Dope Boa Sisters, etc. Very, very strong indeed. Cerebral, definitely moving up to number 1, moving up to number 3. Let me change that real quick. It's bugging me. Sorry, guys. Then there's Free Spirit. Now, Free Spirit, I don't believe has moved up enough to talk about as a higher class yet. The same problems we had with Free Spirit initially are still kind of there. Besides perfect organization, they fixed that problem, but they didn't fix the problem that TS Luffy had where you had to pop 2 specials to get the multiplier. And you kind of still have that problem, but it may not actually be a problem. Now we're gonna have to do testing, and Free Spirit's more unproven, and that's why Cerebral didn't move up last time as high, because we didn't know. That's a lot of things with Cerebral. We don't know until we try it. Until it's been out for about a month, then we can change things in the tier list. And that's why Cerebral was a little bit lower last time and much higher this time. Free Spirit is gonna be staying at number 4, and the reason it's staying at number 4 is because it's just not proven currently. We need to prove it, we need to play with it, we need to see all the things, and then it'll move up again. You'll see it later, we'll talk about it, and we'll be able to discuss it again. And we'll see more changes as the April version comes out, and we'll know exactly how we feel. Now, we're not gonna know until about 5 to 10, maybe 15 days into the month where Free Spirit should lie, and then we'll see it in the April version what the changes should be. The Strikers are gonna move down. The reason Strikers are moving down is not because they're bad, it's because Cerebral and Free Spirit are just better. Currently, that's just how it is. There are so much utility on Striker. There's so much. And they are super, super, super good. They have Neko, they have V2 Law, they have Lucy, etc. But the thing with Strikers is that Strikers are starting to feel the impacts of a lot of other content and a lot of other abilities that are coming out, like damage, attack down, etc. Chain limit. All those things. Those are things that Strikers can get rid of, but then have to sacrifice in other areas in order to use perfectly. With other classes like Driven, Powerhouse, Cerebral, Free Spirit, they actually have other characters where you don't have to sacrifice as much in order to get those utility buffs on your team, or debuffs, I said, or removals, or whatever you need to get rid of. Utility is a little bit better on Driven, Powerhouse, Cerebral, and Free Spirit. And I understand there's a lot of people who are going to disagree with me saying that Strikers are going to be a lot better. I understand where you feel. They are not bad. The top 6 classes are far above the bottom 2 classes. Here's the top 6. No, here's the top 5. Then there's Slasher, and then there's the bottom 2. That's probably the best. So here's the top 5, which includes Striker, and then right here is going to be the Slasher class, and then way down here is going to be Shooter. So there's going to be a big gap between the three. Slasher is still very, very viable. There's lots of things. They're never bad. The thing about Slasher is that if you're trying to reroll an account and you're trying to figure out what the best way to go is, Slashers in this game have never been bad. They've always been able to clear content. They're always been able to do stuff. They've never had content where they're like, well, I can't run a Slasher team unless it's a Kai raid. There are some sets of content where it's a little bit harder to run Slasher, but Slashers typically are really good, nice middle of the pack. They're just moving down here because of all the other classes being extremely strong. So I'm definitely we're gonna see a Slasher push at some point. We just don't know when it's gonna be. Shooter is still really weak. Fighter really weak too. Even though the new Luffy is a fighter, the fighter subs right now are really crap, and Shooter is a little bit easier to run. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of subs that have come out that have been shooters and that allow you to run shooter teams and allow you to do a lot of different other things. The reason fighter is the worst right now is because they're just missing too many things for utility. Utility is the counter to fighter right now. And if they need to use any kind of utility, they get shit on. And on the global version of One Piece Treasure Cruise, you actually don't know this yet. It's okay because it hasn't come out. But the content that's going to be coming right after Coliseum Lucy is going to get harder and harder and harder and harder than ever before. And you're going to see way more utility being needed. Damage is a great thing. Utility is where we're going to right now. You're going to see a lot more utility being needed in future content, and you're going to need a lot of wave clear. You're going to need a lot of other things that are just things that you need that you just don't know you need yet. And it's a problem, and Fighter is just not up to snuff. Shooter it does it by the skin of its teeth. It's really weird. But Fighter struggles really hard. Fighter's still a good class overall, but definitely not as good as the other classes. There is no bad class in One Piece Treasure Cruise. There's definitely classes that are better than other classes. So know that if you were thinking that if you have G4 Luffy and you're really thinking you like V4 Luffy, it's fine. Fighter's just getting worse and worse and worse. Shooters, I'd say, is the second worst class because Shooter has more utility. It's just proven that way. Sorry. For the Dex Legends, there is no change whatsoever. It's from the last tier list. V2 Jofi, Ichiban, what are you gonna do? V2 Rayleigh, number 2, amazing, undisputed. I left Croc in here at the bottom here because, you know, he's just not as good. But the other thing is, if you haven't watched any other tier list videos, Blackbeard, Magellan, and Zoro are kind of tied for 3rd place. Those 3 don't really matter. They're just there. I can't make a decision one way or the other because if one's useful one week, the other one will be useful the next week, and the other one will be useful the week after. It just rotates between the 3 in usefulness. They're all the same. 6 plus ace is much farther below, though. Definitely bar below. We go to the Psy. We're actually see some major changes in the Psy category. The Psy category, we're going to have Vince Mo Judge be number 1, of course. Neko number 2. And the reason I couldn't move him down from number 2 is because I really could not find a reason to put Robin above Neko. I could find reasons to put Neko above Robin, but I couldn't find anything that was like, I really gotta put Robin above Neko. Because Strikers also have the Striker ship, and they have Barto, so for damage negation, they don't really lacking. So I'm gonna keep Neko at number 2, and I don't really think Robin should overtake that. If you don't know why Robin is number 3 here, this is the biggest change, and G4 moving down. You have to watch some videos of what Robin does, and you'll start to understand. We didn't know when Robin was released how good she was. I put her last month at number 5, and we didn't know how good she was. And when we found out how good she was and what she could do in content and how well she could clear it and how good the damage reduction on her is, it became more real. And then at that point, we were like, okay, Robin's freaking phenomenal. I can't even believe how good she is. Her meat orbs are like 9k meat orbs or something like that. And the defense, the damage reduction in it, just as natural damage reduction on the Captain ability is so strong. Auto healing up with 1 meat orb. Auto heal plus 1 meat orb is like full HP. It's on a lot of hits that you're gonna take, and when stuff hits you consistently on 1-turn intervals, you're fine because it's constant damage reduction. And if you have to take a big hit, you just use Robin and you're full HP no matter what because it's 100% damage reduction. Plus, she has really high. She has high defense and everything. She monsters through forest. She monsters through lots of content. She's just so good. There's no bad parts about Robin, and the problem is Neko has bad parts, and that's kind of a negative. The thing with Robin is that Robin does really well against HP cuts because if she gets HP cut, she can just use 100% damage reduction and then heal up. It doesn't matter to her. It's amazing. Heal up with 2 meat orbs, full HP. Oh, look at that. Done. Shirahoshi is going to move up to number 4, and G4 Luffy is going to move down. The reason G4 Luffy is moving down and not so much Shirahoshi moving up is G4 Luffy is moving down in viability as a unit, getting less and less good. However, could not, for the life of me, put 6 plus Law above G4 Luffy. I couldn't do it. I am an avid G4 Ray shopper, but I have never thought in my entire life that 6+ Law could be better than G4 Luffy. And the main reason for that is G4 Luffy is still a very good unit overall, and fighters could come back easily, and you could have G4 Luffy with a paired fighter friend captain. That would be amazing. Like, no one knows yet what that may be, but that could happen. That could very well happen. 6+ Law is not as high damage as G4 Luffy, no matter what team you use, because 6+ Law has such a unique special that it doesn't mesh with any team that we know of. There are like NL teams that it can work on. There's lots of other teams it can work on, but it doesn't like perfectly mesh with any category of unit. And I was trying to make Law teams for about an hour today. I was trying to figure out what the best teams were, how I could use the unit, how I could figure out what to do with him, and I really couldn't figure out how I wanted to do that. I'm gonna say 6+ Law, even though I don't have the artwork for him, is gonna stay at number 6, and he's gonna move up in the tier list above Borsalino and a lot of other units, but definitely not above G4 Luffy. Shirahoshi, however, moves up because she's just consistently good. Always good, never bad. Shirahoshi, always good, never bad. Boa Hancock, Borsalino moving down. Sorry guys, if you look at the tier list though, the reason V2 Boa and Borsalino are like neck and neck, and one can be higher than the other, doesn't really matter. To be honest, this doesn't really matter because they have just moved so far down. There's so many other units that are just so much better in Sai. So after that, there's Sabo. Even though there's new Free Spirit meta coming out, Sabo is actually not going to see as much play. And even with his Limit Break and all the other things along with him, he's actually not going to see as much play because of all the other Free Spirit units coming out. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Free Spirit's going to play out. But overall, if I was going to do anything, I may run Sabo plus new Luffy Ace combo. I may do that as a Free Spirit team, who knows. But I don't actually know what I'm going to do with this Sabo yet, because his 2.75 captain ability is good. It's just not legend tier. You know what I mean? Int, 0 changes, same as last time. But there is changes for the reroll category. What I made last time, I was like, hey, what characters should I reroll for as far as units for if I'm starting in One Piece Treasure Cruise? So number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are going to be Judge, Luffy, Ace, Dofi, Rayleigh, and Lucy. These are the best characters that you should reroll for in the game. Top 5 units that you should reroll for. No particular order here. No one's better than the other ones. Whatever. They're all good units. They're all amazing. If you pull any of these units and you pair them with any of these other units on the right-hand side, Shirahoshi, Blackbeard, Frankie, Magellan, or Robin, these will be amazing pairings to have with any of these units. They don't work well with every team, as in Robin doesn't work on every team. She doesn't work on a Doflamingo team, but Doflamingo's amazing. She doesn't work on a Luffy team, but she's amazing. She may work on a Judge team depending on how you pair it. She does not work with Lucy, but she is an amazing unit just to have by herself. So if you do need a cerebral captain and you just roll Robin along with a lot of these other units, or one of these other units, then your account is really good. Blackbeard, always a great character to have going through barriers, a really nice mechanic, only character that does that in the game. Shirahoshi, always a strong character, no matter what content you're going to run. Frankie, the reason Frankie was one of the legends I think you should reroll for last time, but what I did was I said, you know what, Frankie is actually a really good niche character, and he's going to fit a lot of criteria where you're like, I don't know what captain to bring. Oh, I can bring Frankie, because I have these cool legends, but I can't bring my cool legend, so wait, what's another character I can bring? Oh, I can bring Frankie. Frankie would be a great other unit as just like a side unit to bring as a rainbow captain for a lot of other content. I could put Kuzan here, but you know what, I would rather have Frankie over Kuzan. That's just my thoughts. Magellan, always a strong character because of what he does. Poisons are really useful, so definitely good overall to have. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for the tier list. My name is Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you smack the like button down below, as well as the subscribe button down below, so we get lots of support in the channel, and of course, keep the channel growing. If you guys do want to get notifications on all my videos, make sure you smack the bell notification right next to it, so you guys get notifications every time I drop a video. For future reference on the tier list, we do them once per month, and they're always going to be my opinion, as well as a lot of other opinions that I take from the community, so if you guys do like the information you're getting from the tier list, make sure you keep watching them and stay tuned every single month. Have a great rest of the day, guys. Peace.